Basically speaking, it's Emeka the creative guy, and I'm basically speaking.
Um, yeah, good everyone. I'm basically so happy I'm very, very happy because it's been a while I've been wanting to do this and finally it's happening. Yeah, it's happening. So, first of all, I want to like shout out to the people that actually made it possible. Basically, like my photographer, my videographer, that brought his camera all the way from aside to this place. Then beautiful minds, the guy that made me to be able to use it because my space is quite smaller, so I had to adjust so that it's not only the little stuff. And myself. And then there was somebody that I didn't even know at all of a sudden because at the time we just got short of equipment to use. And then the guy just walked in at the right time. Now that we're able to have enough. And I'm so happy. I think God just made it to work out this way. So shout out to all of you. I really appreciate you. I'm going to tag you on this video. Yeah, thank you very much. Right here we are currently I'm a student of a particular course studying in Unizik. You can find out about me later on my other post. Fun I will find me come. So on this episode of my Basically Speaking podcast series, I will be having the one and only, they used to call him Governor of Unizik. So let me just give him that opportunity to like introduce himself. Like they used to say that in a person wey wear crown, I will know the details of the crown wey he wear. So please sir, can you tell us?
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, that's your adage. Now, person will wear crown. You have to complete it before we finish this session because I don't understand it yet. So if you know actually the adage he's trying to say, maybe you have to drop it in the comment section or somehow because that is not the correct adage. My name is Chimharam Chikamsu and I'm known as Governor. Governor is not my real name, but Governor is what I'm known as. Governor of Unizik, Governor of Engineering, Governor of this and Governor of that. So yeah, I'm Governor and I'm a student of mechanical engineering in Namdazikwe University. I'm a student leader. Um, Basically, I'm a businessman also. I do a lot of things. So, but for this podcast, I think we have to talk about leadership. So yes, I'm also a leadership expert.
I'm also a student politician.
And a student leader.
So you're not a politician?
I'm a student leader.
Okay,
thank you.
Leader. Okay, I think I'm going to come back to that point. So, since you're a student leader, can you quickly brief us as regards the capacities in which you have served as a student leader in Unizik?
Okay. When I came into the university as a 100 level student, I started serving as the personal assistant to my departmental president.
Okay.
As a 100 level student, I served as PA to my departmental president, and from there, we skyrocketed to the SUG. As a 100 level student, I was deputy director of political affairs to the 30th SUG president. Yeah, my leader, giant comrade, is Chukwu Francis Ejikeme. Permit me to correct myself, Honorable is Chukwu Francis Ejikeme. Yeah, he was the then SUG president, and I was serving as deputy director of political affairs in my 100 level. And then after that, in my 200 level, I also served as director of implementation and policy, director of policy and implementation. Yes, that's the position. And after that, in the 31st SUG, if I'm not mistaken, under Giant Comrade Eze Samuel, I served as liaison officer, Faculty of Engineering. And then currently, we contested last year also for SUG presidency in the last election. Yes, I contested against Giant Comrade Chukwusom Ochuba, who is the current SUG president. So that has been my journey so far in student
Wow, you
leadership.
quite have a lot of experience as regarding a lot of capacities you've actually done. But then, I think let me just hit the nail on the head. People used to say that you are a failed politician in school, saying the fact that you contested for SCG election and you didn't win. So, like, can you quickly brief us? Do you feel like that rumors were actually true, or those sentences those people made you actually true as regarding you being a failure because you didn't win the SCG election last year?
Okay, first of all, not because it's about me, but the statement is wrong in its entirety because it's not a factual statement. Like I said when I started, it's not about me. It's about, even if it should be someone else in the picture, I would say the answer is no. Losing an election is not a proof or is not a pointer to a person being a failure in politics. We have leaders across the nation, across the world, who have failed, and failing in an election did not define their leadership journey. Personally, as a person, losing the last year's SUG presidential election, it did not in any way define my leadership quality, and it does not in any way mean that I'm a failed leader or a failed politician, like you said. I am a leader, a student leader, to be specific, for now. I'm not a politician. So, in answering your question, I would say that losing the last year's election does not in any way mean that I'm a failure. Whoever is going to make such a statement is probably going to be somebody who is not a fan of me, somebody who doesn't, like my person. Yes, because it is obvious that losing an election does not mean you're a failure. If you check my leadership journey, it has been marked by integrity. I am a leader who does not have questions to what I have done in terms of leadership. If you check within the university community, our influence and what we've done is very visible. If you discuss with some student leaders, especially the ones who are coming up now, you will definitely hear my names mentioned in corridors of people who have assisted them in one way or the other. While I was contesting the last year's election, let me make this instance that is going to strike my point that despite losing the election, I am not to be considered a failure when it comes to leadership. Because last year, while I was contesting, I had a team. I had people who were working with me, people who shared my vision. And despite losing that election, if you go and ask about these people now, you find out that they are all placed at different levels of leadership in their departments, in their faculties, some even in the SUG. I was able to make sure that, and this is one thing I usually tell, when I'm talking to my fellow students, I tell them, I say, let your leadership not always be about yourself. Once your leadership happens to become about yourself, it's selfish interest, and you are not worth to be called a leader. A leader should consider those who are coming with him. So while I was contesting for SUG presidency, I had a team. I had people who were working with me. Now, at the end of the day, I did not win SUG president. But where are these people? These people are occupying different positions in their departments, in their faculties, all over the university. So despite not winning the election, we've made our mark. We've raised men. We are still raising people. We are still building ourselves, and we're still making impacts. Thank you.
So, do you feel like even though those people are actually occupying positions right there in school, do you feel like, have you ever thought of it being like you being a limit to the sense that they actually have positions and then you are just there? I don't know if you get my point.
Come
Like,
again.
there's a way, like, for example, now, after the election, you lost the election. And after the election, they are in capacities and then you were just there. Is it that you had other plans immediately you lost the election? Or it was just like you just said, okay, fine, it's going to be a boss? Or why didn't you consider running for other positions like faculty president, probably Senate president or something instead of SCG president?
Well, whether or not I am in power, the office I'm holding is not what defines my leadership or my leadership quality. So whether I'm in power or not, as a person, one of my values when it comes to leadership has always been raising others. So as a leader, I feel like I have failed if I'm not able to raise others who are like-minded. Because I would always tell people, if you want to change a system, it doesn't take being a changed person only. It takes coming with people. If the system of our governance is not working well and we feel like we want to change something there, we can't do it alone. We have to raise men with us. Peradventure, I had become SUG president, and then the people who I am working with are not in any way sharing the same ideology, leadership ideology. If the people who I'm working with are not people who are like-minded, people who want the growth of the university, you find out that leadership becomes difficult for you. Because while you are trying to do the best you can as a good person or as somebody who has visionary leadership in mind, then the people you are working with, maybe they are pursuing something else. So I believe in capacity building in people rather than just yourself. It has not always been about me. In all honesty, it has not always been about me. So if I turn out to be SUG president, and then people who are holding down to departmental positions, mental presidents, mental PROs, and all what have you, are not doing well, then I have a problem as a leader. So my focus while contesting was that we are contesting to win, so that we can work, so that the students can see SUG at its best. Then at the same time, we are trying to raise people.
Okay.
So that while you are working as the SUG president and you are doing well, there are other people in their different parastatals also doing well.
Okay.
Do you understand where I'm driving at now? So the fact that I'm not the SUG president and then there are people whom I have raised in different places who are serving in different capacities, it's a thing of joy to me. Now, we are not targeting just to be content. We might have other dreams, but then the dreams of those who are following us is also into consideration. We are nurturing dreams. We are raising leaders.
Okay.
So that's the goal.
Now, to that question, as regards this student politics, students, especially during the XCG level. Okay, let's say down to the departmental level. Now, I feel like, from a personal point of view, I feel like everything has been jeopardized in the sense that student politics isn't really about student leadership. Because there used to be one saying that a person will get money now in the win election. So do you feel like it is because, do you feel like that narration is actually in the right preposition to fit in to the matters that regards to students' union government in Nnamdi Azikiwe University, or it is just a rumor as regards, because there are several occasions that people be like, I have potentials to lead. Yeah, you go see their manifestos, they have manifestos, they will read 10 pages, and then you see somebody will just come out and be like, I want to empower you, I'll give you, then they bring out a bowl of buns or pop-off, and then they bring it out, and then they distribute to people, and they say that is empowerment in a student manifesto event. So, and after the end of the day, people who read dozens of pages of manifesto reading with clear clarity of what they want to do as regarding when they win the election in their with various capacities, they don't win the election. So, do you feel like that narration actually fits in, or it is just a rumor, or something else is always happening at the back of students' union government election and all this kind of stuff?
Okay, yes. My answer to the best of my knowledge.
Okay.
You see, this has been one of the things that has, been of concern to me when it comes to student leadership here in Nnamdi Azikiwe University. In Nigeria as a whole, but then Unizik is our immediate environment, so we'll talk about it. You see, when we tend to involve money, finances, and a whole lot of financial burdens into elections in student environments, it's of great concern to me. Because first of all, in the right sense of things, even in the country as a whole, we have seen that the system has been spoiled to the extent that you now use gifts, money. Even one of the governors, I think of Kano State, empowered women with pants, underwear. Yes, I saw it online. A lot of things are happening in the nation. You see empowerments like bags of rice and all these things are happening. Now, in our student environment, we see student leaders copying this style of leadership. I made a post years ago, and some of the leaders who buy into the idea of what I posted, they reached out to me and we were discussing. I was really concerned that if we practice the style of student leadership we are practicing in the university now, because know it that most of the student leaders you see, they have a target. Many of them are using the university environment as a playground to learn, to see the dynamics of politics, and then so that they can launch into, but it is wrong.
Okay.
Let me educate you a bit on what student unionism is about, because I have studied, even before I came into the university, I have been into what I would call student leadership from far back as secondary school. Student union government is more of activism than politics. Activism. Yes, a student union president in the real sense is considered an activist and not a politician. Now I'm talking based on the foundations of student union government in Nigeria.
Okay.
The student union government during the time, for example, somebody like Showore was an SUG president during his time. As an SUG president, Showore was not a politician, was an activist. While I was growing up, I knew about student union government. Some of the people who are contesting for positions now will tell you when they came into the university, they didn't plan to go for SUG. Some of them didn't even know what SUG was.
They knew along the line.
Some of them knew along the line. Before I came into the university space, I knew what the student union government was. I knew how it operated. Student union government is a union. If you check, it's not only students that have union. Student union government is not politics. I've tried to explain these things in different ways. Now look at it this way: keke riders have union,
Yeah.
bus riders have union.
Almost everything has union.
Everything that has to do with car, in fact, everything on almost everything you
Even
find
the
yourself
sellers
in
have union.
have union. Thank you. In the university environment, ASU is the union for academic staff. NASU is the union for non-academic staff. The union for students is SUG. Now, SUG is there to cover the interest of students.
Okay.
If you check, if a keke rider now should have an issue, the union is what intervenes. The keke riders union is what intervenes on their behalf. Now, student union government is there to cover interest of students. It's an activism. That is activism. And that is why back in those days you hear things like protests. SUG was not about politics.
That is why when they increase school fees now, student leaders can't actually do anything as regards that.
Exactly, things like that. In the past, that's why you hear things like an injury to one is an injury to all.
Oh, okay.
It's a Nance slangs. SUG is a body under Nance.
Okay.
SUG is a body under Nance. Now, what we find student leaders practicing now is now politics. We are now more interested in what comes to our pockets, politicians that we're able to meet, benefits we can get. You now find student union mingling with political parties. You understand? You hear things like a student association endorsing a politician. These are some of the funny things we heard last year when Professor Solido was contesting for the second term. You hear union leaders of student union endorsing a party. You understand? These are things you don't find in student union government in the past, but they are there now. A lot of misbehaviors and misdoings have entered student unionism.
So let us say along the line, greed played in, right?
Thank you. Now, the changes that came in to student union were not all negative. Some were on the positive side.
Okay.
Because you will find out that in the past, we have situations of student union presidents that are arrested, student union leaders, being sent out of school, being arrested, and so many things. Because in a bid to agitate for student welfare, they do some things in the wrong way. In a bid to agitate for student welfare, they get into some activities they're not supposed to get into, and then at the end of the day, it results in their expulsion, it results in their arrest, and things like that. Even sometimes it can result in death.
Okay.
So that's why I said that some of the changes that came into student union were not all negative, some were positive. Because now student leaders can now see that there's room for consultation. Everything is not about fight. You don't fight the school management. You don't come out and then you are fighting school management. It's about collaboration. Collaborate with the school management to do what's best for the students.
So we heard that you served under the 31st president, right?
Yeah, I served under the 31st president.
Now there should be a saying that a sitting president has 80% tendency to produce the next sitting president. So do you feel like, was there how would I call it, a missing interest between you as a serving person to the 31st president of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, SUG president of Azikiwe University? Was there a clashing interest as regards that, or was it that of all because I noticed that a number of people that served under his administration actually picked interest in the election that happened last year. So was it that there were clashing of interest? That is why it was not visibly, or it wasn't visible that the 31st president was endorsing a particular candidate for a particular post.
You see, in a bid to be political, a lot of things are not being said, a lot of things are not being done in the open. So, but in the university, if you check the structure of how it has happened, of leadership, at least from when I know, Giant Comrade Ijoma was the 29th SUG president. And from everything I know in his time, he did not support his successor, Giant Comrade Isugu, Francis Ejikeme. And but then he emerged despite not being supported by the incumbent president. And when I was contesting also, we all know also that Samuel Eze did not support Ochoba Chukwusom.
Okay.
But Ochuba Chukwusomi is the SUG president. So that statement is not exactly true. And coming to why I couldn't get his support, every man is entitled to his or her opinion, decision in terms of whom to support in an SUG election. So by virtue of serving under his government, I am not entitled to his support. Because I served as an appointee under him, I am not entitled to his support. So like you rightly said, a lot of people picked interest from his government. You understand? I had people who were serving alongside with me also pick interest for the presidency. So you see, even if by virtue of being an appointee, I am entitled to his support, you can see that for the fact that other candidates also came out for same position while also serving under him, even if I was entitled, you see that others also are also appointees. So who is entitled to his support? So he is left with the personal decision to choose who to support.
Okay. But there was this saying that the 31st president used you to make the running of his government very, very smoothly as a licensed officer. So do you felt like you were being used during that time, or it was just a propaganda to push or to cause distraction during those things that happened during his government?
Well, service is service. Whether you were used or you were not used, it depends on you. If I want to say I was used, it depends on me. If I want to decide in my heart that I was not used, also depends on me. Okay. I took up the position. Well, when I was appointed, I have the liberty and the freedom to either accept or reject. I accepted because I wanted to serve. Do you understand now? And now I got into the office. I did to the best of my ability. One of the things now that the Dean of Student Affairs is trying to establish in Student Union, these are the things we fought for.
Okay.
Then,
during the 31st
government,
okay.
This is part of one of the controversies that raised issues between faculty presidents and licensing officers then. The issue of once your tenure is up, you hand over.
Okay.
And I will continue to say it to you tomorrow. Power is transient. As a leader, you are doing your tenure, you are done with your tenure, hand over.
But there are so many presidents that have been presidents since year one.
Exactly.
And they have not handed over.
These were the things we fought that made some of the student leaders there not to see us as good persons.
Okay.
But we are not buying human sentiment when we know the right thing to do.
Okay.
What we are pursuing after is good governance, transformational leadership. Leadership for students. Let students see that what you are doing is for them.
Okay.
You cannot graduate and still occupy power.
But it seems like it's still happening.
That is the point. The dean is doing his best to see that people who have graduated or who their tenure of services has passed should hand over to the next people to carry on. These were things that we fought for then. As a licensing officer in the Faculty of Engineering, I released a memo that mandated the Faculty of Engineering to conduct elections. Because you can imagine a situation whereby the faculty president had graduated, had relocated to Lagos,
and he's the president
to continue his life, and then he's leaving the association there at a point.
That is crazy.
Election you have not conducted. So we had to mandate the faculty to conduct election, and the faculty conducted election.
Without
the president was in Lagos. We don't need his presence. All we need is an electoral chairman for election to happen. So election happened. But then, unfortunately for us, the people who we fought for, the administration that we fought for, so that power can be transferred to them, election can happen, and then then they can start the administration, came into power and did not accept our office. They said the office of the licensing officer was this, was that, and they began to, So, if propaganda should have it that I was used by Messiah's government to get, I feel like it's wrong because I bought into the ideology. If I did not buy into the ideology, I would have sat with my president and say, this thing, let's do it like this. But power is transient. When you are done, hand over. So when Messiah was fighting, what he was fighting, it was a good cause. And I stood by him to fight that cause. That when you are done with your tenure, you hand over. Until date, I have no regrets to doing that, whether or not Messiah supported me, or whether or not I won that election that year.
Yeah.
I do not regret my actions as I'm standing with Messiah. What I stand with is the right thing, irrespective of persons.
Okay.
As a president, Messiah did his best.
Okay.
We were instrumental to how well he performed in his tenure. As a matter of fact, anywhere you see me in student leadership, you see leadership of purpose. If what is happening there is not for student interest, it's not about purposeful leadership, if they are there for stomach infrastructure, you will not see me. I have built my integrity in student leadership so much to that extent. You can't see me where the leadership or politics is about stomach infrastructure. If it is not all for students, student welfare, transformational leadership with purpose, then you count me out. So I worked in, I'm trying to establish that I worked in Messiah's government because I want to work for him. And because I saw he was working for a good cause, not because I was used.
So now, so basically speaking, during these times of election where we used to have so many people pick interest, because there are some people that have been working tirelessly probably from their year one because they want to be SCG president, SCG this and that, SCG appointee, a lot of stuff going, especially for the male contestant or the main candidates. There is always, or in most cases, sex scandals. Because I see no reasons why, as a student leader, and one of the ways they used to attack you in order to have clashing interests with you so that you will not win the election is through sex scandals, and they have evidences of somebody being used, or some people even pay somebody. So I don't know, for you, I think it was a rumor I came across one time. They said he probably doesn't used to humanize a lot like that, but they see him as a bad person. Some people said he's into drugs. Some people said a whole lot of stuff, basically speaking. So for you now, they were not standing grounds as regards what exactly you were doing, but they were rumors as regarding the kind of things you do. So can you just clarify those things out, like in clear terms, within the school premises or as related to school stuff? Why were they not able to actually pinpoint and say, okay, fine, this person, now woman will use catch up, or now drugs we use catch up, or we get evidence saying that waiting we get against this person with this?
Okay, you see, politics and propaganda, I think they work hand in hand.
Okay.
And I have always told students that even though the process towards your emergence in an office is political, in terms of you are campaigning, people are voting for you, that's a political process. What we are going there to do is to lead. You're not going there to be a politician. The process of emergence might be political, but then that doesn't make you a politician. Now we have a lot of people who are politicians here, and politicians will always do everything to spoil your name. I said something while I was talking, and I said I have worked so much to maintain my integrity, because apart from student leadership, I'm a person. I'm a person of integrity. Aside from student leadership, I'm a person. Personally, my personal values does not allow for certain things. And these are some of the things that, like things you've mentioned. Some of these things you've mentioned are things that my personal value does not align with. So somebody raising it up as a propaganda is somebody who is chasing clouds.
But there are some naive people that actually believe it. If I never knew you before, probably I saw it online, I'll be like, that person. They will involuntarily involve it inside conversation. I'll be like, this person, no, he's a smoker.
See, it's fact checking is something that everybody can do, but literally no one does. Fact checking. If I hear that, oh, Emeka, the creative guy is this, is that, the first thing I do personally as a person is to go and fact check. I do fact checking a lot.
But so many people don't have
yes, people don't have the patience of fact checking.
Because they like gist.
Now, I always tell people, I don't know where the propagandas that have come on me, I don't know where they stem up from. You understand? I don't know where they stem up from. But I always tell people, it is very important to maintain your integrity, because if somebody should come and meet you, because you know me, and the propaganda is sold to you, it's very difficult to convince you that I'm doing something like that. And that's because you know me. We are not going to consign ourselves so much with what people are saying. What is important is what you are doing. Now, somebody is going out to say he womanizes, he smokes, he drinks, he does this, he does that. People are also watching. They have eyes for themselves. A propaganda that is not true can come up quickly, but it will also die quickly. Some of these things you say you've heard, I have heard some of them, but I have not for one day come out. This is the first time I'm ever speaking on a subject like this. And trust me, I'm not even here to say, oh, I don't do that. No, you would never find me in that scenario.
Okay.
My actions speak for itself. If you say he is this, what are your proofs to the fact that he is that? The only time I have something to say is when somebody comes out to make an open claim that, oh, this person is this, oh, this person that. Then I will seek lawful redress, because you can't say something that is damaging of my character, my hand, and then I know that you are saying this thing and I will not come for you. I will come for you legally. You will come and explain. If there's no explanation, you face the because I think defamation of character is a crime and other things that are so when you say something about a person and you don't have facts to back it up, you come and explain. So in the case of propaganda, I'm not the first student leader to ever have questions. A lot, everybody, and then some of them, when questions on them are raised, there are facts to back it up. But you would agree with me, the questions that have been raised regarding me as a person, when you check, there has not been any evidence to back them up. Do you understand now? So as a person, I am not concerned. The people who are spreading this propaganda should also, I think you should have, if you've heard that there are propagandas like this, then you should have also heard that I have never for one day come out to defend or speak against any of them. While I was contesting for election last year, petitions came. Petitions were submitted against me. A lot of petitions. Hilarious ones at that. You understand? The committee in charge, the UNECO, did their investigations and they were able to see that I was clean.
So do you feel like UNECO is actually a scam to deceive people, that there is actually a structure to make sure that election actually goes the way it's supposed to go? For example,
a scheme.
Like a scam.
Okay.
Like basically a scam. They are just a structure that is just there, but basically they really don't do anything. Because for example, there are certain candidates that probably would miss their screening exercise and will still contest for election. And for example, probably I heard that there were two candidates contesting for a particular post. One came for screening exercise, one didn't come. And then during the time of election, it was still, meaning that if you miss your screening exercise, you are not supposed to contest for an election. So do you feel like it's just a scam, or it is just a scheme that student leaders use to get information as regarding what is going to be favorable to them? Because in most cases, they don't know which other offices is against their own interests. So they have a representative representing them in the UNECO to be giving them details that, okay, fine, this is what is happening. This is what is going to happen. This is that. Do you think it's just a scam like that, or they're actually doing their work as UNECO members?
Okay. First of all is that, except maybe I'm the one that does not know, but to the best of my knowledge, UNECO members are kept anonymous until you as a candidate step into the screening venue.
Okay.
When I was contesting for SG presidency last year, I didn't know. The UNECO has representative from each faculty.
Yeah.
I didn't even know who was the UNECO representative from my faculty. So these individuals are kept anonymous, except some of them decide to maybe go and disclose themselves for personal reasons. A UNECO member might want to disclose himself so that any candidates that will bring something.
So he can also do his own infrastructure.
But the ideal thing is that UNECO members are kept anonymous. Is until you step into so that just there that the interest of every faculty is covered. UNECO is not a scam. Take it from me. So far, I have seen in SUG elections and all, the UNECO has been doing a good job. When petitions rise against a candidate, they don't just take up the petition and then disqualify a candidate. They do their findings, they investigate, the research to make sure they find out the truth of the matter.
Okay.
Now, a candidate who is not qualified does not contest. You understand? So, speaking about what you mentioned earlier, talking about candidates who miss their screening exercise. For a candidate to miss screening exercise and then later is seen on the ballot, it means that probably a screening exercise was rescheduled for the candidate to come and be screened.
Okay, without the notice.
The UNECO is answerable to the union that constitutes the
electoral
UNECO.
Okay.
But then it doesn't mean that every of their activities should be explained to students.
Okay.
That's why we have student representatives at Student Representative Council. And that's why every faculty is represented in the UNECO.
Okay.
Now, if the UNECO decide to reschedule screening, probably because a candidate was unavoidably is within their jurisdiction. Because there's a possibility that the candidate might be unavoidably absent, and then the UNECO decides to give him another opportunity. If a candidate is not qualified, trust me, eyes are everywhere. People will petition.
So, for example, in the last election, there were a lot of, how will I even put it, a whole lot of scandals, a lot of propaganda flying up and down in the sense that if you don't go and meet so and so person, there is no way I'm winning this election. Would I say that is where the place of godfatherism? Yeah, people that have graduated for long, or people that just graduated, or people that just left office that still feel like they have the right to impose or to produce the next sitting capacity. So do you feel like those kind of stuff are stuff that are supposed to be happening in students' government, where students are supposed to have the free will to vote whoever they feel is competent to fill that seat, than students having their own interest, and then there are some particular kind of cabals that feel like it is their own power as godfathers to produce the next sitting capacity?
Okay, this is where we spoke. I mentioned something about stomach infrastructure earlier.
Yeah.
It comes into something like this. You see, if students electing their SUGS schools and all was if the whole student union government election is going as it's supposed to be, there are some persons who have emerged into offices that are not supposed to be there. Not every student who is serving currently is serving well.
Okay.
Not every day. They say let the best man win, but most of the time, the best man doesn't win. So, you see, the issue of godfatherism has eaten up our institution, Unizik.
Okay.
And it's a thing of pain to me. Because even from my days of serving in 100 level, as a 100 level student and all, I have leaders who I look up to. I have leaders who I'm serving, in one appointment or the other under. But you see the idea of godfatherism, where the person happens to start controlling your administration, your thinking, everything
and
about
then you. Be accountable to him
and then
instead of
you become accountable to the person instead of to the people you are serving. That is where I draw the line. I have never for one day been involved. You can't mention anything about godfatherism and then moving to it and mention my name. I believe in loyalty.
Okay.
I believe in service. I believe in honor. I believe in honor in every sphere of life. When you honor people, the same tends to come to you. So the level of honor, respect, and loyalty that I enjoy from some of the leaders who are coming up and some of the people who listen to me, who call me for advice, is by virtue of the honor I give to those above me. I have leaders, I have visionary leaders who I listen to, people I consult, people I talk to for advice. I have a mentor, I have a spiritual father, I have people that I listen to. But when it comes to control, I am one person who is 100% against control. And we've seen, I don't know, I might not want to begin to mention certain names and certain situations.
Please mention the names so we can be sure.
But we've seen so many situations in the university where people come up and then they put their own person into power.
Okay, like they're saying that the current SCG president of Nnamdi Azikiwe is not actually the president of the union, that there are certain persons that he's accountable to, and then so many things that he does is not within his free will. That is why he's not able to do certain things. So saying that you have been inside this thing for quite a long time, what do you have to say about that? Is that statement accurately true, or is just part of propaganda that actually fly?
Well,
people say that a lot.
Yes. You know that in where there is in how do I put it now?
They even said he was not even supposed to win the election. Basically,
the truth is, if you check by hard work, and he was not the most hardworking during our time.
Yeah.
If you observe, when we were contesting, the current president was not the most hardworking. So we know in politics that the most hardworking person is not always the person to win. So if you talk about he was not the one who is supposed to win, I am not God. I am not. I don't want to question.
But reasoning to
yes, I don't.
So working.
Yes, the election that produced him, free and fair. But then influence came in.
Okay.
Honestly, there was influence.
Okay.
Yes, because if we talk about by individual capacity and what a person can do, we know that he is not supposed to win that election. But he is the president now.
Okay.
So that he is not supposed to win, and that does not play any part here. He has won.
You've not actually clarified that statement as regards
that he is not the president.
He is not the person on the seat that is being used.
Well, the statement itself is literally wrong. He is the president.
Okay.
What the database has is that the president of
Nnamdi
is Ochoba Chukwusom.
Okay.
Ochoba Chukwusom is the president. He's recognized by NANS. He's our president. We've never had a situation of what they used to call it, parallel government. We've not seen in Unizik where somebody is the SCG president and that person come out and say he's the SCG president. We've always had one. Chukwusom is the SCG president that we know. But then we have rumors of influence in his government, because we saw that when he was contesting, it was literally not a mandate of his own. We saw external influence.
Basically,
we all saw external influence in his emergence. We saw where people who had graduated from the university, people who are no longer students, were interfering in the election. We saw these things, they happened. So somebody who is saying Chukwusom is not the president might be literally wrong. Because we know that our president is Ochoba Chukwusom. But if it's about control and influence, we know it is there. Which is why I would always advise on not so much submitting yourself to a person that you become a puppet.
So basically, you are trying to
what we expect from him. What we expect from him to do as our president, we are not seeing it. Probably might be because of the external influence.
So what do you feel like he should have actually done as the SCG president, as the 32nd SCG president?
Well, a lot of work. A lot of work. There is a lot.
Like, can you just give us like 2 instances
for example,
of things he should have done? Or it's not when a president enters into seat, there are certain things that the president is supposed to prioritize before certain things, basically. So as the students union government of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, what was those like major things he should have actually put in place instead of starting?
For example, you know SCG tenure is 1 year.
Yes. One session.
So it's 1 session.
Yeah.
1 session, yes. So student leaders don't used to put this into cognizance when looking for who to support or who to push in an election. But it's a very important point to note. Whoever you are sending to become union president should be somebody who is experienced. Because in a 1 year tenure, you are putting somebody. You can't be learning. You are putting somebody who is inexperienced. The person is coming in the first 3, 4, 5 months of his. You are using it to learn. You are using it to find out what am I supposed to do. You are using it to consult, to look for what and what to do. Whereas your tenure has gone almost half.
And then in the second semester, they are trying to rush.
Thank you. So a person who is coming in as student union government president is supposed to be somebody who has experience. So that the moment you are coming in, you are kicking into start work.
So do you feel like, apart from the influence that are inside of it, do you feel like there are certain structures within the school government that is making it hard for even experienced people to actually find their way?
The structure is the student that we have. Everybody is chasing after his personal interest. Everybody is looking for stomach. Everybody is looking for his or her own. Do you understand? When I was contesting last year, I was pointing out to the majority of the people I met, stakeholders, I would always talk about experience.
Okay.
Check these candidates that we have.
Mm.
We have 1 year tenure. It is too small to come and experiment in government. What you're coming to do, you're supposed to come and hit the ground running.
So is that the reasons why so many people go finish a particular?
I feel like that is part of the problem we have with the incumbent president.
Okay.
His leadership history, if you check, he was a cost rep in his 100 level.
Yeah, basically. He had a lot of experience actually.
He was a cost rep in his 100 level.
Okay.
And after being a cost rep in his 100 level, that was the end. The next thing, he was contesting for SUG presidency.
Wow. So basically, most of those things he said in the manifesto were actually wrong.
Thank you. So part of his so even why I'm pointing this out is that his problem might not even be external influence.
Okay.
External influence in his government might play a part.
Okay.
You understand? From the insinuations, his external influence might play a part. But we should not overlook the fact that the person in question seemed not to be experienced before he came into power.
Okay.
And now when he came in, the first half of his government, we saw that he was still trying to, try to find a solid ground to stay on. Meanwhile, he was supposed to continue from where
the last president.
Thank you. They have structured student union government presidency to look like it's a battle. The incumbent is battling with the success of who is coming up.
Okay.
Whereas it's wrong. It's supposed to be a case of continuity.
Okay.
We have 1 year tenure of a truth. 1 year is not enough to
it's not enough to 1 year. It's about 8 months.
Thank you. That one session. One session is not enough. So we should be looking at whoever is coming in is somebody who was involved
in politics.
Thank you, and can continue from where the other president has stopped.
Okay.
There were a lot of things that Messiah did as a president that were supposed to be continued.
Yeah. For example,
the idea of once your tenure is over, hand over.
Okay.
It was a good initiative that Messiah came up with.
Okay.
He put liaison officers in each faculty. These liaison officers, he didn't put them because of election. He put liaison officers that can represent the faculty to the president. The president, liaison officer is like an intermediary between the president and the faculties.
Okay.
Now, faculty presidents are there doing their job in their faculties. There is an intermediary that reaches out to the president directly on behalf of the faculty.
Okay.
Now, these faculty liaison officers became instrumental to making sure that faculty presidents that have graduated do their elections and hand over.
Wow.
Chukwusom came up as a president and he trashed that office.
Wow. So there are no licensed officers in any faculty.
In Chukwusom's government, there was nothing like licensed officers.
Okay.
And now we are seeing a situation whereby faculty leaders and departmental leaders are agitating against the student affairs because they said their tenure are going to end. Now they're agitating. They're agitating for extension. If the president had continued that liaison officer, there would have been that
collaboration between the student affairs and the student union.
There would have been collaboration between faculties and the president. The president would have been able to see that, okay, honestly, there is need for election. That liaison officer is one of the things that the president did not continue, that he was supposed to continue.
Okay.
Now, coming in, there were some policies that the former president were pushing for it to be actualized, but because of his tenure ended.
Okay.
Yeah. Trust me, if you're able to discuss with Messiah now, he will tell you there are a lot of things he wanted to do, he was not able to do.
Why do I think I'm supposed to bring him on this?
Of course, if you have the opportunity to bring Messiah in, you can bring him in. There are things he did that he did well, and there are places where he could not finish up because of the tenure.
Okay.
That is where he comes in. And as I'm talking to you now, I know that even Honorable Chukwu Ejikeme, there are things, he did very well.
Yeah.
He is one president that his mark, whether people who don't like him want it or not. Honorable Chukwu Ejikeme as an SUG president did marvelously well for Unizik. His track record is there. The things people before him could not achieve, he achieved them. And that's part of why some of people who don't like him are coming, to say some kind of things about him. He is one of the best performing presidents ever. Despite that he did a lot. He provided bus for student, bus for safety units, safety unity, security department of the university. He provided a shuttle bus for them. Provided a shuttle truck for student affairs to aid their movements and hostel activities. He provided a utility vehicle for student association government in the Okofi and Navy campus. He did he was the first president that initiated the exam relief palliative initiative. He was the first that did it, and Messiah did it after him. It is in Chukwusom's that we are not seeing it happening. That thing is a good initiative that should be continued.
Wow. So do you feel like
The
these
reason
funds
why
are supposed to be
the
used
reason why the reason why Messiah followed up on this was because he watched the president before him do it, and it's a good initiative. He followed up on it. Are you getting me? The point I'm trying to make there is that in student union government, it is supposed to be continuity. When a person is done with his 1 year tenure, the person who should be coming up is somebody who is experienced and knows where the other person has stopped from,
Okay.
so that he can continue from there.
So do you feel like the money the funds that are supposed to be used to do these initiatives are being converted into something else for the Minister of Infrastructure?
Well, I am not involved.
Because so far so good, we've probably not seen
Nothing.
anything that have actually been done, apart from the fact that, which we are going to commend, that he tried to make sure that rent in Ifite is being subsidized. That is actually a good thing. But all about the students that are struggling to come to school, trying to see that, okay, fine, one of these days, giveaway go enter inside. One of these days, there's going to be rice in their department. One of these days, all those kind of stuff. Because those were one of the things that used to make them like, there was no way you go to inside the school, inside the department that they don't know about Messiah, basically, because his name was always there because he did this, he did that, he did that. But this is almost the end of this new president's
students are anticipating. When students see good things that former presidents do, they are waiting for it. I know how many students that know me and know that I'm involved with SUG that have come to ask, what is happening? Why is there no palliative this year? Students have asked.
Okay.
As exams are coming up, they didn't see the first semester exam. Exams are coming up, they're expecting it.
And this is second semester.
This is second semester. So some of these good initiatives, students have seen it. They are asking, what is going on? That is where the Student Representative Council plays a part. I cannot, as just a commentator, agitate when there are people who are supposed to be doing the job. The Student Representative Council, they are there to represent students. We have senators from each department representing the students. These senators are the ones who are to be asking questions.
Okay.
That we have funds to run activities of the union.
Okay.
We are not seeing initiatives that are benefiting our students. Where are these funds going into?
So do you feel like the mutual agreement between all the executive of a particular session as regards funds, so that there is a limit to what they say?
This question is for them.
Okay.
If there's a way you can get the people who are in power to come on your podcast and you ask them, for them to tell us. Because I am not in their government, but one thing I know for sure is that some of the things we are expecting to see them do, they are not doing it.
Okay.
So the people who are supposed to ask, I will ask the question within my own level of jurisdiction. I am not a senator.
Okay.
I hold no position currently. Yeah. So those who have these things within their jurisdiction, they should act on it. Ask questions.
Okay, so now, as regards that, let me divert a little. There used to be a saying that during Messiah's time as president, he was the one that made students or the leaders that are actually naive as regards certain aspect of funds know that for every activity you want to do inside the school as regarding student association, the funds are being provided, that there is a dues that are being removed from your school fees, and this and this and this, and this is what you are supposed to request for to do so and so things. And it was in this time that people were actually enlightened as they can write to school and all this kind of stuff. But then there were departments that were actually charging like a whole lot of money as regards induction. For example, there are some allegedly there are some associations that actually charged 15K for induction, 21K.
This is exactly what I was talking about when I said continuity. This is part of the things Messiah fought during his time. And now liaison officers were part of those that were used to, move, the motions for these things. Now, Chukwusom State administration did not adopt the liaison officers, did not adopt any means of checking leaders at the departmental level and faculty level, because it's wrong. The money for associations to run both departmental level and faculty level, the funds are available. Now, why would 100 level students now have to pay again to do induction, to buy polo, to do this and do that, bring in unnecessary burden? These are some of the initiatives that Messiah brought up. These are things that Messiah spoke up about, and we were acting on it, and students were happy that these things were stopped. But the next person came up, did not take up the initiative. Now students are complaining again. You see online, students are writing that students are extorted, this, that,
So do you feel like now they used to say that most people actually say that after school, na NANS. So and some people have actually come out to say that NAS is one of the most unstructured association ever, especially in Okai City here. So what do you have to say about that?
Well, it's a wrong statement to say after school and NANS.
Okay.
Why? Because what is NANS? NANS is National Association of Nigerian Students.
Okay.
So why should it be after school?
But most people actually get into NAS.
Yeah, I'm saying what you're saying. Okay. Why does it have to be after school before you now join NANS? NANS is for students.
Yeah.
That non-students are there is because of what we call stakeholdership.
Okay.
And now let me explain that to you. Stakeholdership in the sense that if you leave NANS to be operated by students who are just students, there are some things that they may not be able to know.
Okay.
History is very important. That is where stakeholders plays a part. Despite the fact that this stakeholdership is being misused or is being abused, does not mean it's not important. Stakeholdership is important for history purposes. There are things you want to do and you have to make reference. People who are there before you are the ones who will say this and this about that. So, but the abuse in it is what is bad.
So you're trying to tell us.
Do you understand?
Okay.
So NANS is not supposed to be an after-school thing. As a student, you are part of NANS. If you want to be part of the leadership of NANS, you're supposed to do that as a student.
Okay. So you're trying to tell us that throughout your time as a student leader in this school, you never embezzled money, you never been involved in sex scandals, you never been involved with anything that has to be fetish as regarding the stomach infrastructure of a thing, and you never been involved in campaigning, arranging students to come out for electoral campaign, because there used to be a time we used to hear that if you are not doing anything, mobilization, if you are not doing anything, come outside, we'll give you 2,000 naira. And then you see buses parking, students that have not eaten will come out, and most times they're not even giving the money, like just like the one that happened one time that they said some people went for mobilization without legal processes, and then the students have to trek back to their house. So do you feel like this is also part of the way that in which student leaders actually put students into danger in order for them to benefit their boss?
Well, asking if I have been involved, I think the answer is evident before all. Okay. If I have been involved, the cases would have come up.
Okay.
You understand? I'm not a leading person in Nandazikwe University.
Okay.
So if there are cases of misconduct like this, they would have come up.
Okay.
I mentioned earlier when I started talking that some of these things are not consistent with my personal values.
Okay.
So that I'm not doing them is not even because I want to be a good politician or I want to be not because I want to be a good politician or I want to be a good leader.
Okay.
It's because they're not consistent with my personal value.
Wow. Okay.
The issues, I can't have a sex scandal. It is not consistent with my personal value, so I can't have it.
Okay.
You can't see me, mobilizing students for monetary benefits. These are not my thing.
Okay.
So you cannot even hear my names when such things are discussed.
Okay, so lastly, before the end of this thing now, since election is actually close by, probably they started buying of phones and all this kind of stuff. So do you have interest to run in this current election, probably as a president again? Because we have stories of people running twice for an election, probably they didn't win before they win again, or the passion to come out for the SUG president has actually died down. What's the plan after this? And what's the plan? I feel like you are probably about to be in your finals, basically. So what's the plan as regards after this whole student leadership of the team? What's the plan?
Okay, we're still in student leadership as long as I'm a student.
Okay.
We'll stop leading students when we cease to be students.
Okay.
When we cease to be students, we'll stop leading students. SUG president or no SUG president, we're still going to be student leaders. We'll still do our best for students. Without being a student union president, I have been called upon so many times to come to the rescue of students, and I've always been there. I have served students. I've been called. Students have been arrested unlawfully. We've gone to bail them out, not once, not twice, not 3 times. Countless occasions. We've gone out of our comfort zone to serve students. Nobody is paying us. Even these cases of robbery happen in the university, in the environment, if the environment, not in the university. We have had situations where people rob and we are the ones who intervene. We've caught thieves. We've done so many things for students. So we are not stopping. Being the president or not being the president, we are here to serve. We are here to lead. We'll keep doing our best. If we happen to come out tomorrow and be SUG president, by virtue of eligibility, we might not be able to still contest.
Wow.
But owing to the fact that I'm moving into my final year and every other thing, I wanted to become SUG president.
Wow.
The interest is there, the aspiration is there. But peradventure we don't get it, because your question is after all this, what next? If peradventure we don't get it, we still life goes on. I'm a person for myself. I'm building myself for myself. I am not building myself around the SUG.
Okay.
You understand? We will still lead, even the country. Watch out, we are coming.
Okay.
In this nation, you will still see us. We will come out. The things that the leaders of today are not doing correctly, we are still here to do it better. You understand? We are involving ourselves in the system. The leadership of this nation will do it. We will lead this nation.
So let us take a pause from here. Probably I'll bring you in for a different session entirely. So it's actually a pleasure to actually talk with you.
Thank you.
And to interact with you. Can you just give a shout out to your people, your fans, people that have always been reaching out to you? Just give us a shout out and encourage people to actually like, share and subscribe to our channel.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for having me. You're a great guy. We see what you're doing in the media space.
Okay.
We see you're a very talented person. So I really appreciate you for having me here. And by virtue of time, we have to stop here because I know there's a lot that we have to say to educate the public. So yes, those of us out there that are watching this video, make sure to like, make sure to follow, make sure to subscribe, make sure to share. When you see, give to others so that they can listen. The truth is, your video is going to go viral. You have a lot of controversial questions here. So automatically, even those who don't want to share for good way, we share for bad way. We share to say, hey, see what he's saying.
Okay.
So yes, I still remain Chimham Chikamso, governor
of Unizik.
I think you need to tag my TikTok handle.
Yeah, I will tag you.
So yes, check out.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So please like, share, subscribe, share to all your friends, even though they're not Unizik. Share to everybody, and a big shout out to the people that actually stood by me today. I wasn't really expecting all these things. I was not even expecting. The whole idea was to just use the phone to shoot, and then am I shooting with the camera. So I feel like this is part of the thing that actually happen when you actually just put your mind to do certain things, and then you just find out that it will just work out. So basically, thank you very much to shout out to Merikoda Effect. He's a very, very big photographer here in Oka. He has shot a lot of celebrities down from Ifite Unizik to what from
shot me.
You know, he go shoot you after today. I'm gonna go link up. Thanks to Beautiful Minds, Charles. He's a graphic designer. He does illustration, a lot of stuff. So thank you very much for that, and thank you very much to the anonymous person that gave us lights to use to shoot this video. It's actually a pleasure. I don't take this for granted. I believe that if I'm able to, like, reduce the distraction that comes around with, live and those kind of stuff, I'm able to like show up consistently and see where this takes us to. For now, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to just do what is in my mind. Basically speaking, it has been I've been there since my year one. I just saw that one and I was like, basically speaking, it's supposed to be a series, and I started with the interview session, and now this is me shooting a podcast. We are done for today. Before I talk rubbish, thank you.